One of the other techniques that works really, really well when you're contour trolling or working break lines on your maps is how many times have people here, you're fishing a spot and it's 15 feet and then all of a sudden it drops really quickly to 30 feet. So you're always, you don't know what to do. You're kind of stuck because it's like, well, yeah, I'm really, I got great control at 12 feet, but all of a sudden when I fall off the depths, I got to let a whole bunch of line out, or if I got 2 or 3 different rods out with friends in the boat, we're always adjusting the depth. One of the neat things is actually using a bait casting rod with your bottom bouncing. And the cool thing with a bait casting rod and reel is you can get them with these cool little flipping switches on them. So you can just drop it without using your other hand to open and close the bail all the time. Right? It's one of the few times that walleye anglers actually use bait casting rods and reels. Because what it does is it allows you really quickly to adjust your depth. So as you're going over, you drop down, you just let it down with one hand. And then when you want to bring it back up, this reel here actually is one of my ones that I use for guiding, because most people reel. I actually just do it this way all the time, so I'm not switching hands. I let it down, drop down over the bump, come up a bit, up over the hump, let it back down. It's all done with one hand. So that way my hand, I'm not flipping bails, opening, closing bails, peeling out line. So that's one of the reasons we use these. The other thing is, lots of times if you're doing that, where you're letting line in and out with a bail all the time, flipping and closing and turning the handle, you get tons of line twist. This way here, you can fish all day long without any line twist at all. The next tip that I like to give people is you're looking at your chart. There's lots of times a classic pattern I find in the summer on pretty well every body of water I've ever fished. There's lots of times the walleye like to relate to what I call steep breaks. So they'll be up on 6 or 7 feet of water on this flat, but also there's lots of fish that'll drop really, really quickly on the break line. You can see it on your map, because on your actual Navionics charts, you see all sorts of lines really close together, or if you're using the platinum charts that are 3D, you can actually see the shading, which is really cool. It's kind of like driving your car. You can see the shading of the actual drop on the map. And what you want to do is in those situations, because you're changing depth so much, how many people here like to troll with crankbaits for walleye? Yeah. Okay, a big problem, right? Fish are at 6 feet lots of times. We're also getting them at 22 feet off the same break. That's a major problem if I'm trolling a crankbait, because I can't change my depths without letting more line out or reeling it in. This is where leg core comes in. Lots of people here use leg core for what I call Great Lakes trolling. It gets you down deep. You can get down to 50 feet, whatever you want. I barely ever use it in those situations because I got other ways of getting my baits down. There's downriggers. There's all sorts of other tools out there. What I like to do is I use leg core in shallow water. Yeah, I know, it sounds kind of strange. But the reason I use leg core is because it's speed sensitive and it snakes through the water. So as I'm following the contour, if you put leg core out, all you got to do is put 2 colors in. And as you're trolling, if you snake along the actual contour lines, that line in the water, because it's weighted, it's got lots of resistance, actually snakes through the water following the contour. That's one reason why I do it. The second reason, I speed up so that my bait every once in a while is just ticking 16. And I go back out over the deep water, I slow my boat down, I see on my contours I'm getting deeper and deeper on my chart. I slow my boat down, the leg core and the crankbait sinks. So now I can fish both depths without don't even have to touch my rod. So one of the advantages of leg core in shallow water is you can contour troll and keep that bait usually within about a foot of bottom. And usually what will happen when you're first learning to do this is your rod tip will bounce once. That's the leg core hitting bottom. The crankbait hasn't hit bottom yet because the leg core's got a big bow in it like that. Okay? As soon as you see that rod tip bounce, pick up speed. That's all you got to do. You're on your tiller, just hit the tiller. Give it a shot of speed, and you'll see it. And the cool thing is, with very little stretch in leg core, you'll see the crankbait moving. So then you know if you're in contact with bottom. All right? Works really good when you're stuck in that situation where you've got fish up shallow, you've got fish deep on the same break line. All right? So that's a really big tip. The cool thing is, with your actual charts now, is that you can get really detailed with this. Like I said, there's lots of lake data out there now where we got 1 foot contours. And I know it sounds kind of crazy at first, you go, wow, 1 foot, that's like, so if you figure, if you're going from 6 feet to, 12 feet, that's 6 feet of 1 foot increments. And usually you're going to find they're going to be at like 8 feet, or they're going to be at 9 feet, consistent. And then what you can do is you literally just follow it like you're driving your car. And if you're using leg core, you can snake, you can do really steep, like turn really tight inside turns, follow them around, and the line will just S through the water. And the other thing that's cool with leg core, you've got 2 people in the boat, you can put them out each side of the boat. You can put them out each side of the boat. And because they snake through the water, as long as you keep your beads the same length, they won't tangle. Because they'll stay separate in the water and they'll snake together. Now, if you start to decide to shorten up one of your beads, watch it. There's one thing I will warn you, if you ever tangle leg core, you just get out your scissors and start cutting, because it does not tangle very easy. So what I'm going to do is just give you one more tip about contour trolling and using your navionics charts. And then what I'll do is, because I got quite a bit of time left, and I can't really hear up here because of all the water. It's like a big aquarium up here. So what I'll do is I'll just come down on the floor and people can ask questions, or they can take a look at the iPhone applications we have now, or over at the booth also. I can show you different scenarios of how we use the charts for contour trolling. How many people here have heard of slow depth? Oh, you don't count. Okay. I'm going to let you in on a little bit of a tip. This was a technique that was developed by some guys down in the Dakotas. It's mostly about, I would want to say the first time I heard about it was about 10 years ago. Okay. We started using it on the tournament circuit. And at first I thought it was this one that lots of types of stuff comes out. We kind of think, I don't know, that sounds like a bit of a, people are just, it's a new technique, yeah, I don't think it really works. I tried it, it works, okay? The amazing thing was, we used it on these tournament circuits for 6, 7 years. Nobody said a word. I'd even have clients in my boat and go, what's wrong with this? Look, it's all bent. I say, oh, it's tightening. Actually, we were bending the hooks to make them gyrate in the water. It makes a spinning action like this, okay? Now what I recommend is any tackle shops, you can get them anywhere now. Mustad makes them, they're called a slow depth hook. And all it is a bent Aberdeen hook that rotates in the water. Super simple technique. You put it behind a bottom bouncer with about 3 to 5 feet of line, depending on how snaky the bottom is. And all you do is you put a chunk of worm on a crawler about that big. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's like a 10-cent hookup. Well, lead's getting expensive now, so let's say $1 for 10. All right? You drag this along, and it catches everything. It's not just a walleye technique. I've caught everything on it. Last year we were in a lake way up north of Fly-In, and I just thought, oh, we're in this little back bay. I thought it looked really good for walleye. And we're actually catching speckled trout using this same technique. It works really, really well. It's a super simple technique. And if you contour troll, look at your charts, watch your contours, and you use that, I guarantee it's going to catch your fish. And it's super simple to do. Anybody can do it. And all it is a bottom bouncer line. You can use spinning rods. You don't have to use your bait casters. Follow the contours and just slow down. So that's it for today. If you have any questions at all, what I'll do is I'll climb down from up here. And we can just talk down here up front so I can get you. Thank you very much.